a prison in a more ancient part of the world, the pit, where men are thrown to suffer and die. But sometimes a man rises in the darkness. Sometimes the pit sets something back.
It doesn't matter who we are. What matters is our plan. No one cared who I was when I put on the mask. Speak of the devil, and he shall appear. I'm Arteta's reckoning, come to set the Emirates alight. The shadows betray you, because they belong to me. Take them to the stands. Fans of their status deserve to experience the new Emirates and Arteta's era. Oh, you think darkness is your ally? You merely adopted the dark. I was born in it, molded by it. I didn't see the light until I was already a man. By then it was nothing to me but blinding. I am Arsenal's main striker, and I am here to fulfill Arsenal's destiny. I will show you where I made my home, preparing to bring glory, and then I will break the league.
Arsenal finally got their striker, and he goes by the name of Viktor Gyökeres.
The 27-year-old Swedish international. He signed from Sporting Lisbon for 63.5 million euros, which works out to be about 55 million pounds, with add-ons being 10 million euros, which kind of works out to be roughly about 8.6 million pounds, okay? Good business. And he's nicknamed by many, not Gyökeres, but Gyökeres. I like it. Hopefully it catches on. I do enjoy that one. Now, where should we start? I think it's only right to start. Okay, let's start with how much Viktor Gyökeres wants to be an Arsenal player. I haven't seen this from a player in recent years when it comes to Arsenal signings. Want to be an Arsenal player so much, wanting to wear that shirt that he had to sacrifice things to get the deal done. Haven't seen it in many years. So much so that he offered to take a €2 million pay cut in his salary. He said to his agency, he said, I need to forget the agency fees and drop that, which equates to about £8 million. He also refused to turn up to Sporting Lisbon training and play for them just to get this deal done. Now the deal is done, I'm sure Viktor Gyökeres, as well as the Arsenal fans, are very happy. Again, I have to highlight how much he wants to be an Arsenal player, and that mindset, that mentality, for me as a fan, I love to see. Talking of mentality, before the signing did happen, I looked at some of the comments he had of himself and how he sees himself as a striker. And let me tell you, he thinks a lot of himself in a positive way. And listen, being a striker, you have to have belief in yourself and have full confidence. And he said that in a few quotes that I have right here. One saying, so he goes on to say, it's difficult to rank me, but yes, I'm at the same table. And when he says the same table, that table he's talking about is the likes of Lewandowski, Haaland. He's talking about the top strikers currently right now in the world. He puts himself at that table. And he goes on to say, what I managed to do at Sporting, I'm convinced I can do anywhere. He says, I'm convinced I can do anywhere. And he says, you haven't seen the best of Gyökeres yet. Now, I've heard you haven't seen the best of me yet, especially with the Raheem Sterling signing last season. Didn't work out the way I thought it would. But with Gyökeres, it feels different because he says, what I did for Sporting, he believes he can do anywhere. Now, it's a shame that the Premier League, the Portuguese league, I don't know, I think it gets looked down upon compared to, some of the other leagues, the top leagues in Europe. But the goals that he scored it's an astonishing amount of goals. And let me tell you, I was a striker. Scoring goals is the most difficult thing in football. So no matter what level it is, it's impressive. And I'm going to break down some of those numbers now because I think it's only right that in this video we get a full idea of what we're getting and his goal scoring ability. So the reason for his mentality, I think, being so good is because of what he'd done. In his first season in the Portuguese league, he scored 43 goals coming from Coventry straight away. In all competitions, 43 goals, incredible number. In total, last season in all competitions, he scored 54 goals in 52 appearances. 54 goals and 52 appearances in all competitions. Not to forget, just last season alone in the Portuguese League and the Premier League, he scored in 33 matches, scored 39 goals, got 7 assists. That is a good return. The reason for such intense interest on Gyökeres, because he's been sensational for Sporting Lisbon. It makes sense why the noise is so loud, why so many teams wanted to get his signature and put him in their shirt. The number that floats around online and what I think is very impressive, in all competitions in Gyökeres' career in Portugal, I believe it's 102 appearances, he scored 97 goals. Oh, do you know how much joy I have in me just going through that amount of numbers for a striker that is now an Arsenal player? He's also rewritten records at Sporting Lisbon. I'll name you one, for instance. I believe it was last season, he was the first player to score against every Premier League side in one season. His name is there at the top, Viktor Gyökeres. He broke that record. So again, people have their reservations about, can he do it in the Premier League? It's not the same as the Premier League, but scoring that many goals and the way he scores these goals, I've seen him score free kicks. I see the way he strikes the ball. Unlike most strikes, I think that's what we're missing from the modern game, is players that always want to finesse it, caress the ball into bottom corners and whatnot. Gyökeres is a number 9 that just wants to put his foot through the ball and let the ball go through the net. A proper striker, and he is now one of ours. On the 13th of July 2023, that is when Sporting CP signed Viktor Gyökeres on a 5-year deal. And from that, they won back-to-back league titles in the Premier League. And he, in both those seasons, was the highest goal scorer in those seasons. Now, again, the fee that he was signed on was 20 million euros with 4 million euros add-on in performance bonuses that went to him. That, at the time, was a club record fee as well for Sporting Lisbon. So a big sign for him. We're getting a big player. And yes, he got the 4 million euros add-ons for him. Also, the clubs back here that he left also done really good business in the sense that Coventry retained 10% sell-on clause. So anytime he was sold, they get 10% of the fee. And Brighton and Hove Albion, 15% reserved sell-on clause as well. So they also getting a bit of change from this signing to Arsenal. Both those clubs there, Coventry and Brighton Hove Albion. So they've done good business. And throughout this whole transfer window, I spoke about good business, great business. Arsenal, again, I'll give them the nod of approval, because when Viktor Gyökeres arrived at Sporting Lisbon, Sporting CP, same thing. They said that if you want to buy Viktor Gyökeres, the release clause you have to pay is 100 million euros. Yeah, that's what they set. But I'm smiling because fair play to Arsenal. We didn't pay that. We weren't going to pay that. There was a lot of taking time to get this over the line, umming and ahhing, people taking cuts, people trying to, meet in the middle. But Arsenal are quite strict in the fact they only wanted to spend a certain amount of money, and they've done well not to hit that 100 million release clause. They end up spending, which you said at the beginning of the video, 63.5 million euros plus around 10 million, well, it is 10 million euros in performance bonuses. We're not going to spend more than 75 million euros for the player we've just signed in Viktor Gyökeres, which is perfect news for not just the club, but also me as well, and I'm sure many other fans. Now, before we finish, you know how this goes. We've got to look at the injury record. Now, it actually feels good that we're signing a player that I don't have to worry too much about injury. Please. He's missed 3 games for injury in his whole career. Only 3 games. One of those was through rest. It says, missed 1 game to rest. So don't have to worry about that. I've never seen that before, but don't have to worry about that. The other 2 is for a thigh problem. So he's had a thigh injury in the past. And he's missed 2 games for it. So 3 games in total, not too much to worry about when it comes to Viktor Gyökeres' injury history. Again, if I look at some weaknesses that I think people would know, but if you don't, even though he's very tall, 6'2", 6'3", stands in height, his heading ability is not the greatest. A lot of people have criticised the fact that he hasn't scored from his head enough at all. So that is something to it's a small concern being in this Arsenal team, because we like to score goals. Well, our defenders like to score goals, and some of our strikers like to score goals from headers. So that is something that definitely needs to improve when putting on the Arsenal shirt and starting in that 11. So, but apart from that, his ball striking ability and the way he finishes the ball, you can't question that. His strength, physicality, running in behind. That's a lot of the strengths we're getting in this signing. A player that's fast, powerful, and something we've been missing, in my opinion. So it feels tremendous that we have it in Viktor Gyökeres. Now, I have to finish this section on this. you can see we've kind of stuck with the theme of darkness. We're in a lair and all of that. The whole celebration, very popular right now, especially your son Arsenal. You're going to see everyone, you know, coining it and doing it in celebration to Viktor Gyökeres being an Arsenal player. He's yet to give the reason why he does that celebration. We all believe, well, especially us here at AFTV, it's Bane, yeah? We believe it's Bane from Batman, Dark Knight. No one cared until I put on the mask, all of that. And ever since he started scoring goals in that celebration, you can see it's been very popular. But also some people associate it to Hannibal Lecter as well, another person that is obviously a villain, and it could be in reference to that. But he, in Viktor Gyökeres himself, has not ever given the reason why he does that celebration. So I'm yet to find out. Maybe I'll ask him on tour. That is something I'm gonna have to hold, but it's a mystery why he does it. But like I said, we've gone with the whole Bane effect, and I think it works. It gives me great pleasure to say this. From me and everyone at AFTV, welcome Viktor Gyökeres. This season's about to get dark.